man. It looks like we are live, people. You dig what I'm saying? Let me refresh my page. You dig, me, Jack? Yeah, there we go. Let me make sure my mic sound nice. All right, man. There we go. All right, we back in for your customary Sunday live, man. Straight like that. It is I, Jack Travis. You dig what I'm saying? This is a special Mother's Day edition, man. Now, I'm a little late. I almost didn't even do this live today because I've been running around all day and I was just kind of being lazy, you know what I mean? But I said the show must go on. You did what I'm saying. So we in the building, man. I got a little ragtag bunch of topics to go through here, man. I hope everybody doing well, doing swell out there. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you still have your mother around to celebrate this holiday with her. Those of you that don't, my sincere it's the well wishes. You did what I'm saying in this time. I know it brings up some mixed emotions, or I guess I shouldn't even say mixed emotions. You know what I mean? Some sad emotions from you from not being able to be around your mom on this here Mother's Day holiday of 2026. You dig what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody, man. Hope everybody back at the crib chilling, get ready for this new week. Those of y'all that got kids out there, the school year is winding down. About a week or two left, depending on how well your kids do with their grades. You dig what I'm saying? Up until this point, they may be exempt. If they're exempt, then they probably got about another week or so. If not, then they got to go back and do the testing, and I guess that'll be some kind of gauge for you all to get some understanding about where your kids at with these things these days. Now, that's crazy. I was just watching a clip the other day. I want to say it was old, but I saw a lady where was it? I want to say Baltimore. She got a 12-year old. She got she got a son that's in the 17, 18 years old in the 12th grade. And Shouter is going back to have to restart the ninth grade. You understand? Reason being is apparently I think they said out of the 22 classes this man has taken since he been in high school, he has passed 3 of them. And the grades they flashed, bro. I mean, passing was like, I think I saw 61. I could have swore I saw 59. You know what I'm saying? They consider that pass. And I guess in his case, maybe they would. But yeah, Cuz passed 3 classes in all of his 4 years. It'd have been different if he was a star athlete or something. We could have kind of understood why that. But it's like they talking to the mom, bro, and like shit like this be kind of making us look crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. Because they interviewing the mom, and of course, I can't say of course that was kind of racist, but I'm black, so it's valid. But it's a black family or a black mom and a black kid. You did, and mom was steady talking about how the school system failed her kid. Now, when they were showing the transcripts, bro, even though this dude had only passed 3 out of 22 classes he took, he was still ranked 62 out of 120 in his class. So that would suggest to me that there are countless students below even which is almost impossible, bro. I think they said because grade point average was like a 0.3. So to have another shit out of 120, 60, I mean, bro, you got another 58 kids below a 0. They must just not be in school at all. So I found that to be appalling, man. But they talking to mom, and mom is like, oh, the system failed my kid. I think she said she requested one teachers meeting in the time he was in school, and I think they ended up canceling it, and they never tried to reschedule it. And as far as she knew, he was doing well because they kept promoting him from the ninth grade to the 10th grade, or at least from English 1 to English 2 to English 3. So she claims that she had no idea that this man was not hardly ever in class, and when he was in class, he wasn't doing his work. And and that's the part that I said that make us look crazy, bro, because they already use that thing about no males in the black home. You know what I'm saying? They run that in the ground. It's not necessarily true. There was a good number of that at a certain point in time, but we kind of know a lot of the factors that played into that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like black men just run away from a chick soon as she get real. I mean, that ain't the thing. But they take that and run with it. So, that coupled along with the fact that they swear that black women are doing a good job at raising these young black boys, and they just running the muck, and they the ones causing the problems out here, yada yada yada. You know what they hang on. So to see her in front of the camera, man, just blaming, her son's lack of gradable work. You dig what I'm saying? Say gradable work, bro, on everybody but her. I wasn't feeling that, man. And that story's out of Baltimore. You can look it up on Google. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be simple. I don't, but mine has good grades. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, when I check around, it's to make sure that nothing's dropped. But I guess if I'm going along the lines of how she's thinking, I guess they don't just volunteer to show you bad grades, but I don't know. I guess early on in mine's career, looking into the report cards, they were pretty much A's and B's. So, yeah, it's like expected now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't have to even look at a report card and engage as to why this C is on there. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not super stringent as far as investigating all up because mine, no, I tell them all the time, bro, don't do or do things because you're told to do it. You dig what I'm saying? Because yeah, right now you're in an environment with your parent. Yeah, they thinking about a million things because they think with a grown frame of mind. And so they don't forget about stuff. And so they remind you a lot of things to get things done. That's not the blueprint to go off of because in a number of years, you will be out there in the world by yourself, not necessarily just thrown out to the wolves, but you're not going to have like necessarily a caretaker. You're not going to have somebody around that can remember all the important things for you. You're going to have to remember them yourself. You dig what I'm saying? And so I would like to be able to trust you as a person that's going to get things done or not going to do certain things because you understand that ain't what's up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to just hawkeye her school work and her grades because she knows this is standard that's set and it's no wiggling and wobbling around it. You know what I'm saying? Get your work, get your lesson, keep your grades up, and that's gonna help you as you go forward in life. So I don't have to monitor everything, but I think I would have an idea if things were slipping. You know what I'm saying? I think I would have an idea if she wasn't in class on down in my district they gonna call. You dig what I'm saying? Now in Baltimore, in the biggest city, had she been going to school in the biggest city, maybe it's a lot different, but that's still no excuse for you not checking your kids' homework, man, and just keeping up with the progress because kids will tell you anything. So I don't care how much you working at. And it's probably easier said than done, bro, because although I bear the responsibility, the full time responsibility of taking care of a child and maintaining life right now. I happen to be lucky enough to where I was in a situation where I was around a support system and she's the only one. So she gets everything. You know what I mean? I do not, I kind of cringe at the thought of had I had to do that in the big city where everything is 20, 30 minutes away. Traffic turns things into another hour and a half trek, and, trying to do extracurriculars and keeping an eye on them. Yeah, I understand. That's got to be a beast, bro. But being a parent and having a kid, I don't know that we can bring too many excuses into it that'll absolve us of our responsibilities of just looking into what your child doing and how they doing it. And so to have a nigga that's already 4 years into high school, 12th grade, and now having to go back to the ninth grade, I'm looking at mom crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's too much time passing that you were in the dark. You know what I'm saying? The ninth to 10th grade year, a 1 year, yeah, okay. You was working all this year. You had got on second shift and he was finessing you or whatever. But for 4 years and you not monitoring that this man is not going to school. I mean, does he sound smart when he talked to mom? I would have to wonder, like, if he ain't going to class, he ain't doing work. Like she didn't have, and she didn't look at his work. Like, was he articulate when he talking to mom? Was she thinking like, damn, this boy's really reading Edgar Allan Poe? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, look how fast he added up them numbers off the grocery receipt or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's great with numbers. He's smart. I tend to think that he wasn't showcasing any of that. So some of that should have been a red flag to mom to check on to see what cuz got going on. Now, I said if bro was a sports star, then maybe we could have gave him a little grace. Not necessarily, but it was just kind of a lead into like my first topic, and I think I put that in the title. So, and I think my system is acting up. Like nothing is showing up, and it's kind of clicking. So if it's chats coming in here and whatever, I don't know that this is coming in real time, but. Athlete that we're gonna talk about was a crazy story. I put a video out about that earlier this week. It was a reaction video to some of the court proceedings, man. Stefon Diggs, you know what I mean? He was in court this week with his former chef. I guess I can call her a love interest, you know what I'm saying? And by the name of what? Mila Adams. Now, Mila is reportedly like an Instagram chef, put together well. Young girl, at least bodily functions wise. Apparently, her brain on the inside of that body is just not. You dig what I'm saying? It's not. It's not up to speed, man. It's a little smooth. It would appear. So, the story goes that Stefon Diggs and Mila meet from Instagram. You know what I'm saying? He check out on Instagram, get in the DMs. They crank up and they start dealing with each other. You know what I mean? Time to time. Because we know Stefon got a million of them. So over the course of them dealing with each other, at some point, Stefan is like, all right, and I can already imagine her vying for a spot, hating on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Got all kinds of shit to say about the other girlfriends, this, that, and the third, trying to snake herself into the main character position. You know what I'm saying? And so the story goes that he makes her the chef. All right, I'm gonna give you a job of being the chef. Now, I tend to believe that she wasn't like a 24-hour, like you did what I'm saying, cooking potassium rich and protein dense foods. You know what I'm saying? I maybe it was some kind of, I'm sure it was a plan she had to adhere to from the team and NFL and all like that. What he can't eat or shouldn't be eating. He's got nutrition and all that, but some tells me that she's not like a real celebrity chef, bro. I think the chefing came in as a way to give her a job and something to do. You know what I mean? And maybe to finesse the other girls around, like, okay, yeah, I'm saying, but she didn't come in cooking out the gate, from what I understand. So after them getting into that, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, chicks hate each other. And I'm sure she was trying to get into the main spot. And so I think he had a baby mama at the time, or his baby mama at the time was around the picture. I think a girl named Jay, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Cardi B may have been in the picture towards the end of this or what have you, but apparently Mila and the baby mama didn't get along. And some little comments were made and they came to light, came to Stefan's attention. And so there was a trip coming up to Miami and Art Basel, whichever way you want to say it. And the one Mila Adams was informed that she cannot attend. You dig what I'm saying, bro? It's like, hey, we going out here, turn up, have fun. If we're gonna have a bad apple in the group, we're gonna remove the bad apple before we get there. And the group has determined and deemed you the bad apple, Mila. You have got an apple butt on you. You got apple bottom now. They ain't gonna hold you. We're gonna give y'all the grace for that. But you the bad apple, you like the alternate in the bunch. We're gonna leave you back at the mansion and just make sure you got some food cooked when everybody come back. This is essentially what they tell her. What they tell her that for. Mila lost her goddamn mind. Mila said, "Hell no, y'all ain't finna do me like that." And so, the the bad words and the bad blood kind of stem from there. And then at some point in all of that, she goes into a story and she's like, I went over to his house and he eventually moves closer to me. And then the next thing I know, he had me around my neck. So Stefon Diggs beat her up because he didn't want her to go to Miami. Like none of this made sense, bro. And so the show that I did, man, it was just going through. She did like 2 days of testimony. She testified twice. Then you had other people that work for Stefon get on the stand. Of course, Stefon then takes the stand, which is customary most of the time when with the person that's on the other side of these lawsuits and what have you. And Mila made a complete fool of herself, man. It was just she couldn't understand words. She needed further explanation to explain or to answer a question about text messages that were found on her phone. She don't understand how phones work. She barely can see. She can't read. She walk in the courtroom limping. You know, the second day, it was so crazy because it's obvious that they told her like, don't raise your voice, try to appear as calm and relaxed and sensible as possible. You know what I mean? Don't let them get under your skin and you get to screaming and the jury look at you like, oh, she's just unhinged. You know what I mean? Like she'll snap at a moment's notice, which is probably what she did. As soon as she heard that she couldn't go to Miami, her mind immediately went into, well, how can I get back at him? How can I go on and disrupt this whole thing? And as they going through all the testimony, bro, it came to a point about back pay. And from what is understood through the court cases and the documents, she was fired with the week left to go on her little contract or what have you. But she apparently turned around and asked for 19,000 because she was getting paid like 2,000 a week. So she turned around and asked for 19,000, which would constitute the entire season. And she disputed that, didn't understand where that came from and how who wrote that, how you type numbers and letters into a phone. She could understand that. So then they hit her with the 5.5 million. Apparently her mediators and her lawyers, her attorneys sent a request for 5.5 million over there to Stefon Diggs. She don't remember none of that. It was just such a bad look, bro. It was really a bad look. And so I put a show out about that, just kind of going down. And at that time, they hadn't put the verdict out. The next day, the verdict came out and he was found innocent. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't heard anything else from her. I doubt she'll be running around trying to do some interviews. Knowing her though, maybe she will, because they tried like this all the time. And then when it doesn't pan out for them, they'll go on a couple of interview sites screaming how they got done wrong and people don't believe women, and they'll kind of hang on and stretch it out for a little longer, man. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what Mila got to say about that as time rolls on. You know what I mean? Now, it's these two people kind of got something to do with each other, man, and this place too. So we'll do it all like that. Chud the Builder, man. Have y'all been keeping up with Chud the Builder, bro? And it's crazy because I just talked to somebody a couple hours ago that is in Nashville, Tennessee. I didn't mention Chud to him because I just kind of forgot about it, but I told him that I do a pod and I speak about certain things. I really got to talk to him because I thought about, or I heard him talking about the gerrymandering that just went on in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I guess we'll roll into that before we go into the other. So there's a lot of efforts out here, man. I don't know how big, and like I say on this channel, I keep up with a lot of politics. I don't do a lot of political shows because I really feel like I don't know, man. I may be wrong because I was feeling like the political climate was about to start getting boring. You know what I mean? Because I feel like in November, the House and the Senate are gonna change back blue, and my thoughts is that they finna do some impeaching and some removing of some presidential immunities and put some folks in some prisons. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going on. The Epstein stuff, all they ain't went away. I think they just brewing for they shot. And I think the Republicans may be thinking like that too, man, because the efforts that they undertaking right now to try to mess up these voting blocks and all of that is just insane, man. The Supreme Court took a hatchet to the Voting Rights Act. Tennessee just gerrymandered like, oh my God, bro. If I'm not mistaken, they gerrymandered all of the Democrat seats. I'm not super deep and just well versed on everything and every line of these codes and these policies and these procedures and how they go. But from what I'm understanding around the country, the administration is lobbying all of these state governments to gerrymander, which is essentially to redraw their maps and move the importance of the seats around, man, and put more Republican seats than Democrats. Now, from what if I'm remembering right, when we come to all this thing, man, at the end when they count it all up, it's not particularly the number of votes that a candidate gets. It's the number of states and counties that a particular candidate wins, because you can see one that's won more states or what have you, but they didn't win the important ones, the ones that are assigned the highest numbers and all of that. So I was about to say, man, as long as people go out and vote, they should be able to drown that. Um, And I guess it would still work out because whether it's a red county or state or not, you know what I'm saying? If the vote is cast for, I guess, the Democrat opponent, then the vote is cast for the Democrat opponent. There'd really be no way for them to still carry that county or that state and win it over the Democrats. So and man, I got into this kind of carries on from last week, right? So I just did like a 7-day ban on X, which is a badge of honor in my opinion. It's probably my eighth. You dig what I'm saying? Like I get banned for a week. I used to be like 24 hours and 3 days. Now when I get crazy on that, they ban me for a week. So it's off the back of a couple weeks ago or a week ago when it was 7 days deal. I saw Laverne Spicer. She put a message on there talking about her husband and some difficulties he was going through, and shout out to Charlotte. But I got at her. You know what I mean? I had some very choice things to say under her tweet. And boy, they came out the woodwork. You dig what I'm saying? So many replies. Pretty much the same cookie cutter shit, but I couldn't reply to it because I was banned for a week. So I come back the other day. And then last night, we have Deshaun Strickland and the Kazamat Chimaev, if that's correct. We have their UFC fight last night. And let me start by saying Sean Strickland did not win that fight because Sean Strickland won round 2. You can give him round 3, but Chimaev won rounds 1, 4, and 5 for sure. In Sean Strickland's, I guess, defense or just justification in why they say he won, or just in what I saw, he landed, if I'm not mistaken, 134. They call them significant strikes, but if you watch the fight, they were all jabs. All jabs. And then it got to a point around like the 4th round. Cause I watch it, I'd be amazing myself, bro. Cause I'd be watching sports and I'll point something out and say something, and I'd be damn like the next 20 seconds, the announcers will be there. I'd be like, well, I know what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? And so around the 4th round, Sean Strickland, it went from that stiff, a hang your hat on jab to like a push, just a little hit, just a measuring stick, just keep Chimaev off. As soon as I pointed that out while I'm sitting on the couch, a couple seconds later, Joe Rogan. That punch didn't have any oomph on it anymore. He's just using it as a push. Now, speaking of Joe Rogan, because I'll get to you the tweet that I put up there that got him back in flame. Joe Rogan sits on the side of every UFC fight, bro. And for some odd reason, the American fighter, which we know what that means. The American fighter that Joe Rogan is watching is just landing clean, unadulterated, technical shots that Joe Rogan is seeing every one of. But oddly enough, the opponent that is actually landing these unadulterated, precise shots, Joe Rogan just he'll just be quiet. Then a guy like a Kobe Covington or a Patty Pimblett or Sean Strickland swing and miss. Oh my God! Great right hand from Strickland. I'm sitting there like, bro, this glazing is just ridiculous. Like, I see what the lick is. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason Donald Trump said the sideline every event. It's a reason Dana White is a dipshit. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason that they have in UFC 250 or whatever up on the White House lawn. It's a reason that Sean Strickland will put a picture up on his page of him dressed as a policeman and Chimaev dressed as a terrorist. It's a reason that everybody in the comments calling them goat efforts. You dig what I'm saying? And it's just so at the end of the match, as they were going out, right before the fade to black, before they go into commercial break, after the match, after they had announced the win and all that, the guy was like, the American Sean Strickland wins. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, oh my God, bro. Like, especially right now with the war we got going on, the way that these people talk so crazy about Muslims over here and trying to find them a scapegoat and always got to have a boogeyman. Like the UFC is so complicit in trying to promote the like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's a movie called The Great White Hype. You know what I'm saying? It's a boxing movie, and it's about just how, and if you know about boxing, bro, the mano imano sports, you go back to the Jack Johnson days. It took hell before that man to even get an opponent across from him that would even allow him to touch him because he's a black man. You dig what I'm saying? Not that they thought he was an inferior opponent or any of that. They probably knew he would whip their ass when they got in that ring, but the fact that he was a black man, no one would even give him a fight because they would not allow him to touch him. You dig what I'm saying? So if you go back far enough, and so they always try to, in the mano a mano sports, bro. They always try to make a situation where someone from their lineage, you dig what I'm saying, someone from their group, comes out as the victor, as like the mano a mano tough man. You know what I'm saying? Like they're so supernatural in fantasy land with it, bro. So like that means something. It will really inspire them. You know what I mean? They wake up like, yeah, we can be it because we are the strongest. Sean Strickland won the UFC, and in the real world, a nigga turned him and which way but loose out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying? The people outside the strong Sean Strickland. Now he's a trained fighter, of course. He ought to be able to hold his own everywhere, but they'll live vicariously through it. But it's always like the rig is in, bro, trying to promote themselves to be at the top of the mound. You dig what I'm saying? But like I said, Sean Strickland did not win that fight, bro. He did not attempt a takedown. They want to say about Chimaev, they want to say that, well, his takedowns weren't effective. Well, being effective and doing something after the takedown is icing on the cake. That's bonus. You are scored and you get a point for taking your opponent down to the mat. If they happen to work out of it and then get up from the floor, good for them. They just didn't get on the ground and get pounded out. But they did get on the ground in the position where they get pounded. So from what I understood, you get points for that. And he took Sean Strickland down 8 times. Yeah, it was a couple times that Sean he fought the grapples and got up out of it. Okay, cool. Those were 2 good points for Sean Strickland. But those other 8 were not. When it comes to the striking, yeah, Sean's landed more straight jabs, maybe a right straight in every now and then. But Chimaev landed about 100 total, and we're talking about head shots, body shots, kicks. Sean Strickland that face looked like a fool, broke his nose. Yeah, man. But we know what happened with that, bro. Like Sean Strickland did not win that fight, and then afterwards they were all kind of chummy and dapping each other up, man. Like I don't know, bro. I guess it's the way you look at it, and it's like maybe that's just all for TV, man. It's just for the promotion of the UFC and its brand. You dig what I'm saying? But it looked kind of weird. Uh, but I don't think Sean Strickland is on that USA card next Saturday, because apparently he hates Israel and APAC and all of that, and so we know that Donald Trump loves those folks, and so I guess they like, we can't have Sean up here. He then said something wild. You dig what I mean? So they left him off. And I wonder who's gonna be on that card, man. Who is gonna take that bait to go up there? You know what I mean? And out there in the wide open, out there like that, man. I don't know if them the safest people to be around these days. You know what I'm saying? Because they seem to take this shit as a game. For some reason, bro, they operate on the level as though we don't live in the United States of America. And folks do shit in America, bro. Like it get done out here. So I don't know, man. Now I was talking about Tennessee and that gerrymandering, and the efforts that's being taken out around here, and it kind of played into the next topic, man. Because I spoke about Nashville. Now Nashville plays a part in this next topic I'm talking about. That is from the NBA. Now, a couple weeks ago, LeBron James was asked on the golf course about Memphis and going to play in Memphis. And he made it known that he has no desire to play in Memphis. He said Memphis is dirty. The downtown area where the arena is dirty. The hotel that they usually stay in is dirty, just not up to par for I guess not only a billionaire, but just a NBA franchise all in all. And so he suggested, and like other people in the league, apparently since then I've seen, they suggested they want that team moved from Memphis to Nashville. Now, on the face of it, I was riding with them. But then with the recent developments out of Tennessee, bro, I look at it as like, nah, that's just be another gentrification. You dig what I'm saying? Because Nashville is like the home to the honky tonk, and you dig what I'm saying? Opryland and all that. You dig? So I'm like, damn, bro, they moved Job and Rant. In which he probably finna get traded or something. But I'm like, damn, they even with the Memphis Job and Rants to Nashville, like Carrie Underwood type of shit. Like, oh hell no, bro. It don't seem like just too far in the gentrification area. You understand what I'm saying? So I ain't ride with it now. Stay in Memphis Grizzlies. Don't give Nashville, cause they tripping in Nashville, man. Tennessee, that is close to and like I said, the person I was hiding at, if you happen to cross this, man, um when we do talk again, I'm gonna ask you if what you know about Chud, man. Have you heard him? You seen him around? Where he really be like? What's some of the inside scoop from someone being in there a little closer to? I think dude is out of Clarksville or something like that. I ain't sure how close that is to Nashville. I don't know the terrain up through that way, but I'll definitely ask my contact up there and see what kind of story, what kind of information, man, what kind of background, what kind of triangulation location data we might can obtain. You dig what I'm saying on the one Chud the builder. Now Chud has had some problems here lately. Now Chud has had some problems. You had a couple rappers come out and say something, and but one of them like Waka Flocka. Get out of there, Walker. You about slow. NLE Chopper said he was gonna get with him. He had a couple people out here in the streets just kind of got fed up with him. Notably, a couple of white guys I see. I don't even know how to feel when I be seeing like this. But it was a couple white guys, man. Like in particular, the white guy that owned the bar that they kicked him out of, and he proceeded to tell Chud that he's got two black. Did he say boys? Oh my God! Let me rethink of it. Did he say I got two black boys? Oh God, damn, that would have been bad if he said it like that. But at any rate, he said that he had two people of color as sons. I don't really know how that worked out. They didn't adopt, and I think that'd be weird too. Like why they? But okay. So he like, nah, man, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't think you said you were a real POS. You need to get out of here. Chud immediately flipped the script and started to call him an end lover and the normal little tropes. But as always, man, you ran across another situation with Chud, and there was a guy. He was in and looks to be like let me not even tell what color Shawty is, because I ain't doing no snitching. Like Bruce Rivers said, stop self snitching. Well, I'm gonna stop third party snitching and all that. So I ain't gonna say what color car he was in, but he was in a fast moving vehicle, newer model, huh? And he was on the street creeping alongside Chud, and he kept telling Chud, walk back up on the whip one more time. Hey, you bad? You got your gun in your pocket? Yeah, you keep thinking you just finna run around out here picking on the low and weak of the society and getting away with your little pump fund content. Well, step close to this vehicle. I'm bringing you all the content you want. And you could see it in his face, but Chud understands it's getting close. You dig what I'm saying? Chud understands that it's getting close. Because this is the conundrum that he faces. In order to ascend up the racist ranks, you know what I'm saying? You ever seen American History X? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do something. So you keep running up on these homeless people, 12-year-old kids, some couples walking down the street from a bar. Like, bro, they ain't give you no brownie points. Like, they drunk, they not paying attention to you. There's no threat. They can't really get with you. You picking and choosing your battles. In order to make us understand that you can say what you want to say, and however the lessons you're trying to glean from this, you got to go to the trenches. You're gonna have to actually deal with some people that are the high showcases of this low impulse control. You dig what I'm saying? And they go They take it to the bridge when they ready, bro. You dig what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to go and face them down. You're gonna have to do that around some of them in order for us to be like, okay, this is a formidable opponent right here. This is a voice that need to be recognized. But I think that he sees that the closer and closer he gets to that, just how real it is in the field. You know what I'm saying? Because bro, in that colored car, yeah, he gonna do something to him. Now it might have been, right there on camera, he got caught, but I suspect that there's some people out here that don't care because it's not the word, bro. Do you know how many off the back of my comment about Sean Strickland in that fight? Matter of fact, I'll tell you what. Watch this. So off the back of my comment about the Sean Strickland fight, here are this is just an example of the replies in my comments. And please, you mad a white boy won? Tupac was a FAG, what it word? LOL, dumb N doesn't know Russians are white. Cry monkey cry. STFU niglet. Must I go on? A picture of a seal. This picture of this guy. Yeah, these are all replies in my comments. You dig what I'm saying? Now, it doesn't bother me because I also recognize and understand that these same guys, when I walk into the convenience store, not out the niceness of their heart, but out of the fear of if I slam this in his face, what are you gonna do? They hold the door open for me. They get out the way. They might tell me to go ahead and get my stuff in line. And they've been standing there. I didn't ask them, but again, they be on their best behavior, bro. You dig what I'm saying? And every one of these people in the comments know that. CHUD the Builder is not giving you any more onus to think you can go out here. In fact, he damn near he almost done pulled up at the table. You dig what I'm saying? The cake is being baked for him. He is almost at the table. He is putting his handkerchief around his neck, getting ready to be served. You understand what I'm saying? And so, it ain't the word. It's just the audacity that the entities that made that a thing and allow for the feelings behind that word to be put in place. It's the fact that you all think that because of your own volition and your own weird thoughts, you think, hey, this is a time that we can just say, hey, we gonna take that back and just walk. Nigga, this ain't the 30s. You will get your wig destroyed, son. I'm telling you now. I'm trying to tell you what's gonna happen. So we gonna keep up with CHUD, man. He got his hat took by little 9 Trev. I don't really know who he is. He don't really get a cosign either, but I'll cosign anybody that's actively trolling CHUD in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Big up to it. Keep that rolling. But he took his hat. I think CHUD got arrested just here the other day for he got kicked out of a restaurant, but he thought that since they kicked him out, he didn't have to pay for the food he ate, and so he took his ass to jail. You understand what I'm saying? And then he getting out safe and sue Trev, and he finna buy him some more pepper spray. And keep your eyes on CHUD, bro. CHUD is gonna provide us with some hilarious material. I predict. What is this? Oh, hell yeah. We early in the year. This is just now May. I predict by the end of the year, CHUD will provide the internet with one of the most viral videos that we have ever seen. That's my prediction. You dig what I'm saying? So everybody keep an eye on that, man. See what Polymark got to say. Polymarket and Cal should let you do. Damn, should I be? My bad. Cal should give me no check. I ain't gonna say nothing about it. My bad. Now, when y'all ready come give me a check, which I would hope is sometime soon, that'll be cool. Then I'll tell everybody to go and place a bet for any goddamn thing. Now, let's talk some basketball, man. NBA playoffs are here. I just saw the New York Knickerbockers sweep. Yeah, damn. Just think about what I'm just finna say. So the New York Knicks swept the Philadelphia 76ers. We talking about 30, 40 points a game type. You know what I mean? Gap action. Same Philadelphia 76ers came back from a 3-1 deficit to defeat the Boston Celtics. And after looking at what I saw in these 4 games against the Knicks, I'm riding with Jaylen Brown. This whole shit rigged, bro. It's rigged. Hey. But then it's like, what is even the incentive to rig it for the Philadelphia 76ers to go in there and get swept in the next round? You understand what I'm saying? Was it supposed to be some kind of feel-good moment when Joel Embiid came back, randomly off his injury to go on and play, but still looked injured and holding his knee and all that? And then it was like a well-known fact that Carson in town was just gonna run him crazy because Embiid can't move, bro. He ain't nothing but a bump knee away from just disaster. You understand what I'm saying? Stole a lot of money in his NBA time. Oh, he's a smooth operator. You dig what I'm saying? They got to move. They got a game called Thief. You dig what I'm saying? That maybe Joel Embiid was the architect and the subject material for that game because that man done came across some bread. He ain't as bad as his fellow or used to be former teammate Ben Simmons. Now Ben Simmons should probably be investigated for just insider trading. This nigga here is stole $700 million, bro. I don't think he never shot it. He shot a basketball like what 2 years? Oh my god! So he ain't as bad as Ben Simmons, but Joel Embiid been getting a chunk of change for being on the sideline, man, for a whole bunch of time. So I don't know that there was any incentive to rigging for Meek Mill then. Everybody care about Meek. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we ain't gonna put Philly in that just because of them. The Eagles won this thing a couple years ago. That aura done kind of slid off. So I don't know. But as far as the flopping, man, the bad refereeing, that's definitely a thing. I'm still riding with Jaylen Brown. It's rigged. I just don't know exactly how to explain what the rig is. But to think that Philly team beat that Boston team after being down 3-1, only to turn around and get swept like 30-point losses every game. Like, the Knicks aren't that great of a team. Now they was on fire this closeout game. Jalen Brunson is a dog, and it looked like they feeding off Cuz good. Cat was a good addition. But yeah, I don't know if they were. I don't know. That's Philly though, bro. Philly don't really get no respect. So that's what happened in that. Now, speaking of some more basketball. Now, well, Detroit and who's the other series? Detroit, a gup ass series. I heard about these. Detroit and Cleveland, like, boo to both of them teams. I think New York is gonna come out the East, but I don't think New York can handle anybody out the West. I don't think they can beat Minnesota. They can't beat OKC. They could probably beat the Lakers, but the Lakers not gonna advance. Yeah, I can't see them handling anybody out the West, but it'll probably be a good look for the Knicks to go to the ship. You know what I'm saying? They've been fiending for that kind of deep playoff run in New York for a very, very, very long time. So I'm sure the fans are excited up there, man, and that'll invigorate some movement up there in them New York streets. You dig what I'm saying? Now let's speak about somebody that's not playing basketball, and he keeps himself in the news these days because apparently, bro, wants to parlay his prior NBA career into a career in front of the camera, a la Chuck, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, you know what I mean, Shaq, you dig? And that's a man called Draymond Green. Now, last week, Draymond and Austin Rivers got into it because Austin Rivers and the others, and I spoke about this, bro. I thought it was pretty stupid how you had. Okay, so the whole thing is Draymond Green is giving an interview. Draymond says in the interview that although he's had a fabulous career, he loves his coach, he loves his teammates, he loves everything that happened. He feels as though, and not on no disrespect shit, he feels as though Steve Kerr thwarted his career, because of the pieces they had in Golden State. And so, the role that, Draymond was relegated to, or, the thing that fit for him on that team, Steve Kerr was so comfortable with that, and it was such a good thing for the team that apparently Steve was never like, all right, let's start drawing up some plays for Draymond to take a three and which why would he? You know what I mean? He didn't really need that. We didn't need it was already enough 3 pointers going up between these two, and then you add KD to the mix, and you got Iguodala's and Harrison Barnes and all of that other world. Like they didn't need a lot of scoring from Draymond, and so I don't think it was anything malicious on Steve Kerr's part. Like, oh boy, this nigga a hoop. I'm finna make sure he don't score 10 points a game. You know what I'm saying? That sounds stupid. But for the role that Draymond was playing and for how well everything meshed, I don't think Steve Kerr was interested in drawing up too many offensive plays for him. And so that led to Draymond not being able to showcase what he could do on the offensive end. Now, we watched Draymond on the offensive end. I don't know that any long range draw ups were ever in the planning for Draymond because he's not a great jump shooter. But can he drive the ball to the basket and dunk on you? Yeah, he can do that. And I think he took advantage of those opportunities when he got it. But how many plays would you draw up for Draymond Green to come off a screen and cross somebody and beat a man? You know what I mean? That ain't really his game. So I don't know if Steve thwarted his game, but he was in a situation where we didn't need any more than what you were doing. And in fact, what you were doing was absolutely perfect. And it led to 4 rings. But at any rate, this man got 4 rings and all kind of other accolades. Who am I to tell him that he's wrong? I'm saying I don't think Steve Kerr, I don't think it would have been too much difference in his career if Steve would have tried to draw some plays up for him. I think they decided that ain't really the game plan to go for it. But when you got people like Austin Rivers and the other basketball players of the world telling this man emphatically that he's wrong, and it's just like, dog, how? I mean, that's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? This nigga got 4 rings. He know what kind of skills he got. You know what I'm saying? For you to all be able to say that he's just absolutely wrong and Draymond just a bad look. He hating on Steve Kerr. Like the entitlement, the audacious, and I guess I'm involved in this internet world of being a commentator, man. But I call this show straight like that, bro. And like, sure, there's probably some takes or some instances you can go through on some of these shows and be like, oh, that was a little hot take it, that was a little cold take it. But I think you would have to give me the benefit of the doubt, or you would have to give me the green light on the stand from the standpoint that I just try to cut it down the middle, not fence it, because I ain't scared of none of these niggas. So I ain't sitting on the fence about nothing, but I'm gonna call it what it is on either side of it. So, you know, I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't say he was wrong, bro, because it's like, who am I to judge this man's set of skills? And from looking at what he was able to accomplish, how could I sit here and say, yeah, man, I think a guy that did all that, he doesn't really have an understanding of what his skill set is. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of stupid. So I didn't like when listening to these guys have these strong opinions. And one that had a strong opinion was Austin Rivers. Now, I did a show on that and I spoke. Well, I don't even know if I put that show out. I may have deleted it actually because I record 3-4 shows at a time. And the editing process, I evaluate, which one or two are gonna come on out in the next couple of days, and at which point, 2 of them that I recorded are kind of 2, 3, 4 days old at this point, so they don't see the light of day. But I spoke about it, and they put. Well, first they went back and forth. Austin said something. Draymond put out a video going at him, and then Austin started going around doing these interviews and. Austin Rivers was talking about how great he was in high school, um, and then his 6 months in college. And throughout the conversation, man, I'm sitting here listening to both of them back and forth. And I decided to go because, maybe I'm being hypothetical and I don't know the future, but I was quite the goddamn hooper in my day. You understand what I'm saying? I still to this day feel like I messed myself out of either turning up in basketball or baseball. I feel like I should have went to the league in one of those. But from watching these things, man. Well, yeah. From watching these games and listening to these people, I'm like, all right, man. I'm a pretty good judge of hooping ability, and I'm pretty well versed in players and how well they did. But I wasn't familiar with Austin Rivers' game, so I decided to go and look up one of his and I'm sure there's plenty of them, but I went and looked up his highlight tape, his little mixtape from high school, and I mean, the stuff that I saw Austin Rivers do, I'll tell you this. Well, we'll develop it out. The stuff I saw Austin Rivers do, it linked up with what Hong. Hong is like one of the producers or what have you on To the Baja. It's the podcast with Theo Pinson, ladies and gentlemen. That's his name. And Charlie Villanueva. You know what I mean? Hong had some stuff to say about Austin Rivers and his rebuttal. So Austin Rivers went on the show to kind of rebut Hong. And I'm looking at Austin Rivers and basically Hong's whole thing is, bro, you got gifted an NBA career because of your daddy being Doc Rivers. And so Austin went all the way back talking about how great he was in high school and how much better he was than Draymond and all of that. And I went back and looked at that mixtape, bro, and I mean Austin Rivers could hoop for a high schooler, but the only thing stood out about his game is that he could jump some. You know what I mean? He could do a between the leg dunk or male reverse, a windmill or something like that. But he wasn't just a leaper. And then his dribble move and his moves to the rim, bro, that was a fluidity to him, but it was more of a fundamental fluidity. You dig what I'm saying? You could tell that Austin Rivers has been getting trained by and training with professional athletes since the time he touched the basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like he was fundamental. And then he had a little smoothness because he got some black in him, so he had a little smoothness, but it wasn't that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was not that. And I tend to believe that Doc had him in an area where there was no competition around. He went to Duke, stayed for 6 months, one and done, on to the league. They make this big deal because Draymond won Player of the Year the same year that Austin Rivers went to Duke and then went on to the league. But they try to act like just because it was his senior year, he should have did that. Mind you, Draymond Green's senior year had the likes of Anthony Davis. You dig what I'm saying? Who are some other big men? I had the whole list the other day, but that was the first one stood out to me. So I'm like, so since it was his senior year, he was automatically supposed to be better than the likes of Anthony Davis. Being a senior doesn't make you that. And there was about 20, 25 seniors out of the 65 player list that I seen that was available for the draft. But by everybody else logic, again, the fact that he's a senior takes away the fact that he made Player of the Year because he should have won it because he was a senior. And so then we go back to Austin Rivers. He go to the league. He did his 11 years. That gets you your top pension and your top retirement benefits or what have you. And Hong was like, boy, they gifted you a second contract because you're a Doc Rivers son. He argues that a lot of people get a second chance, but Austin Rivers was never a big name on anybody's team. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a role player that stepped in and did some things from time to time. But I tend to agree with Hong that because Austin Rivers' thing is that Draymond Green is the luckiest player ever. And Holmes was like, nigga, you luckier than Draymond. You shouldn't even been in the league to get no checks, period. You dig what I'm saying? Much less to talk about this man that got 4 rings and how lucky he is. And like my whole stick in my show was how lucky, how do you point someone out as lucky when the organization drafted him? He is still with that same organization all these years later. Nigga, you'd be hard pressed to go around to any sport and find a player that the organization drafted 7, 8, 10 years ago that kept him around that long, bro. You know how many, dog, you have to be good. A good player will get traded, in the organization if they not winning enough and they so valuable, we'll trade him and start over. It's a lot of situations that could land you away from that team, bro. But you know that the person that teams will not get away from, someone that they cannot do without, bro. Simple as that. They drafted Draymond before that franchise was busting heads. They kept him around even when they brought in the head busters. And as the head busters started developing, they kept the head busters together. And one of the head busters is gone, but Draymond is still there, bro. And that's got to tell you something. Draymond done knocked niggas clean, smooth out. At practice, Jordan Peele clean him out, line him up, clean him out, and he's still on the team. That should tell you something, bro. And it's not that other teams don't want Draymond Green, because for what Draymond Green brings brought to the Golden State Warriors, there's been a number of teams out there in the NBA that would love to have that in their locker room. You know what I'm saying? And no one has been able to get him, and not because he wasn't worth it, but because Golden State wouldn't let him go. So I don't know that the man is lucky, bro. He got drafted to that organization. They chose to stick by him, and he made his role, his job on the team vital. And them boys got a dynasty that'll be talked about for the history of basketball. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how lucky you can deem him, bro. He got in there and did his thing. You know what I'm saying? And maintained his swing. I feel like Austin Rivers is far more lucky than Draymond Green. You dig what I'm saying? But that's the nepotism thing. You know what I mean? The Bronny James, LeBron James thing. You dig? So that was my thing, and then now Draymond. Now Dre wants to start getting on TV, and like I say, man, when it comes to a certain part of Michigan, I have no love for it. You dig what I'm saying? Start with a D. They got a basketball team by the name of the Pistons. You dig what I'm saying? I care nothing about that city. So, but that don't apply to Draymond, because I think Draymond is from Saginaw or something like that. And so I give him some grace, you know what I'm saying? But he kind of made a misstep. He's trying to ingratiate himself into the Stevie process. And so, him and Chuck had a little awkward moment the other day where Draymond called himself roasting Chuck, and he went into something about his, the point of being late on in the league, with people only, players only trying to keep themselves from looking how Chuck looked in his Rockets uniform in his last 2 years. And it was a bad look. It was a joke, didn't go over well. If you know, Charles Barkley hooped in the NBA until he didn't hoop anymore, bro. You did what I'm saying? Charles Barkley hit the NBA hooping, and he did not stop hooping till the day he left. It was never a time where you went on the court watching Charles Barkley play where he ain't hoop, bro. I can't let Draymond cook him down like that. You know what I'm saying? But Chuck took it in stride, man. People like used to try to take little shots at his weight and all that, but Chuck done dropped it, and it makes the super millions of dollars beloved in the broadcast and commentating community. So but like Dan Patrick said, Draymond got to get a little sense of humor if he gonna get on TV and talk, especially be on them panels like with the Shaqs and the Kennys and the Chucks. Like, them boys talk major noise. You know what I'm saying? You got to lighten up a little bit. You can't be. Yeah, ain't no Jordan Pools up here, bro. You punch somebody on one of these sets, your ass is going to jail. Like, ain't not on fines or no removed from the bill. Yeah, go to jail. So you have to get your little more decorum, my dog. And that is for real. Now let's talk about this, man. A little traveling time. Folks out there might have been trying to fly and go see mom for Mother's Day in another state. You know what I mean? In another city, but your ass didn't fly on Spirit. Oh yeah, you did not fly on Spirit. Now I've never flown on Spirit. I considered it a couple times. Now I flew on Frontier, you know what I mean? I don't think they too far above or were too far above Spirit, but I felt better in my soul about it. You understand me? But apparently, man, Spirit done shut down. They said, again, y'all folks, $7 flights to Houston to sell some ass. Like, it's not making them no money. You dig what I'm saying? They say all we doing is going from Atlanta to Houston, back and forth with bunnies. You know what I'm saying? Like, we a $7 flight. We made $200 out this whole flight full of folks. And all of them got 4 bags, and we got to argue with all of them that they can't just put 2 bags and combine. Like, it's a weight limit. Man, we sick of this shit. We had to argue with all these passengers, maybe $200, and it's goddamn bonnets everywhere in Greece. I'm being super racist, but I'm black, so I can talk about my folk like that. Spear said no more. We get y'all ass out of here, which was kind of crazy though, bro, because I know what the price of fuel is. I can only imagine what flights cost right now. I don't have a reason to take a flight anywhere at the particular moment, so I don't know what the numbers looking like. But I gotta imagine that they are beastly. You dig me and what I'm saying? So to be able to jump on Spirit for $7 and the change in your pocket, that was a good thing, man. And so we don't have that anymore, bro. I know they were trying to join up with JetBlue, I think last year, a year or so ago. And from what I'm understanding, Elizabeth Warren, I don't know a lot about it. I know her name is thrown around in the Democrat side of politics, if I am mistaken. She advanced a bill to stop the merger. You know what I mean? Claiming it was gonna be like a monopoly. And so Spirit saw the writing on the wall at that time. They was trying to make a move to save the company, and from what I understand, Elizabeth Warren and others around her put the kibosh on that, and so we stand today. Spirit is shut down, but this is the United States of America, right? And there is no tragedy that is not turned into a lovable moment or a teachable moment or a good prospect, or there's a prosperity and tragedy, I guess would be a good way to put it. So I would imagine, just like with the shutting down and then sale of TikTok, I would imagine that Spirit, and it'll probably be another controversy because you got one of Donald Trump's partners that's been buying up everything in the last year. So uh, I think the Ellison guy, Larry Ellison, if I'm not mistaken. And so I would not be surprised if in the next couple of weeks or what have you, you hear about some rich guy from some company buying up Spirit, and they start back to operating. Of course, they're gonna raise those prices, but I would not be surprised if it's not a friend of the admin. You know what I'm saying? These boys can seem to put their hands on everything, but as of right now, Spirit is shut down, man. Speaking of planes. Some guy had the bright idea. I guess this was his leaving Earth voluntarily attempt, and he succeeded. So there's a flight going down the runway. I think this was yesterday, day before yesterday, maybe yesterday. And he decides to go and stand in front of one of the engines, and it summarily swooped him into the engine, quickly ending his whole prospect of any activities out here in the world of tomorrow. I don't know who this man was, white, black, Asian, what have you. Probably had to have some mental problems because that's not a normal way of deleting yourself, man. That's pretty it's pretty intricate. You know what I mean? You had to sneak on to it's just a lot going into that. So I would imagine that man had some internal demons going on that caused him to get out there. Now, in wrapping this thing up, you dig? If you are out there on the ship, and we're just, hey man, let me think about how to approach this before I get some people thinking that I'm like minded with them. Um, COVID, coronavirus. I'll go this far as to say this. I agree that the timing of that disease or that virus was highly awkward and suspicious. I don't mind it though. I don't mind what I feel like it got accomplished um, on the side of, you dig what I'm saying? I think they did that for a certain person to keep they had to break that train. They had to break that momentum up, and so I don't mind, but I do feel like it was odd timing. And so now we've got another virus out here with odd timing called the hantavirus, from what I understand. It's out there on a cruise ship. A couple of people have died, 2, 3 people died. But from what I was watching yesterday, they said there's been 30 different people dispersed out in over 12 different countries that supposedly ran across this virus. And apparently, it's like a 24-hour death sentence, man. And so, I was thinking, like, damn, bro, we got a handful of months. We got an election coming up. I don't know, bro. So keep your eyes on that thing, man. I don't know a whole bunch about the hantavirus, but just try to keep your body and mind and soul in working order, man. But things have to be done out here, man. We got some nefarious forces running around America, bro, just willy nilly acting stupid. So, I guess they said drastic times call for drastic measures. You dig what I'm saying? But as I look at my counter, we have done our hour. Like I said, I don't think my screen is catching up. So if people chat or what have you, man, I'm really not seeing it. I have to try and catch up with this after I'm done. But we're gonna get ready to shut this thing down, man. This has been the Mother's Day episode. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Keep your head up. You dig what I'm saying? And until I see y'all again, it's been Str8LikDat. I'm out.